Let's get back to federal politics and the fallout from the election. And Peter Dutton returned to Canberra today. He returned on a commercial flight, presumably to go back to his office and pack it up. He's one of his last trips to Canberra. Journalists caught up with him at the airport. Have a look.
It must feel good knowing you're returning to Canberra, but you don't have to endure another cold winter.
Well, I've been very appreciative for the support and all the good wishes, and I'm very grateful for that, so thank you.
Who would you like to be the next leader of the Liberal Party?
I've spoken to my colleagues, and the Liberal Party rebuilds from here, and that's as it should be. So the best model I've seen is where leaders, former, make a graceful exit from politics and maintain their graceful silence.
Yeah, good on him. Peter Dutton's got to clear out his desk, get back to Queensland, get on with the next phase of his life, and we wish him all the best. Let's continue, though, the fallout from the federal election, and where to for the coalition. They've got a hell of a challenge ahead of them. And my next guest has shared a few thoughts in the media. He is the former New South Wales Police Minister, David Elliott, and he joins me on the desk. Great to talk to you, David.
Thanks,
I'll
Chris.
come to the New South Wales Police Commissioner in a moment, because that's been a massive story today. But when it comes to the federal coalition, you make the point that's obvious. I don't think enough commentators or certainly journalists understand this really, and that is that right of centre voters are not ideological, they're not sort of loyal, they're pragmatic, and so they don't have this sort of loyalty to the Liberal Party. If they don't really think that the Liberals are going to do the right thing by them, they're very happy to just park their vote elsewhere.
Well, that's right, Chris. I mean, I've been a member of the party for 40 years, and I can tell you there is nobody more ruthless. There is nobody more disappointed. There is nobody that will attack the Liberal Party more than a traditional Liberal voter, because that's their mindset. Their mindset is we are the party for excellence. We are the party for aspiration. And if you're not going to reflect that conservative management style, well, then we'll punish you until you do.
I was wondering, the other factor I've talked to a few people about is whether, because according to the polls at least, the swing against the Libs sort of came late because they had been tracking fairly well. Labor was tracking up. But do you think it got to the stage where a lot of voters could see that Labor were going to remain in government, and it was better to vote for them and make sure they had a majority than end up with a Labor-Greens minority government?
I think the greatest fear for most Australians was that the Greens would have the balance of power. There's no doubt about that. And I think with that in mind, and because they've seen in living memory minority governments and how dysfunctional they are, I think there was very much a case of, well, listen, if Albo's going to win, we better make sure that he can win and govern properly. Because I mean, as a Liberal, I wanted it to be a minority Labor government which would go to pastry, and in 2 years' time the Parliament would dissolve and would get a 10-year majority. As somebody that's looking at his superannuation fund every morning, I wanted it to be a majority government so that Albo didn't have to rely on silly little children when he needed to get legislation.
There's no doubt it's better for the country. Now, look, there's lots of mistakes from the coalition side. We know it was a poor campaign. We know their economic policies weren't well thought through, but I've got to get your thoughts on the Trump effect. I think that was massive. And also the Labor policy I've highlighted a lot as a direct electoral bribe, and that is the forgiveness of 20% of HECS debt. Give us your thoughts on those two factors.
I think HECS debt was in the top 10. I don't think it was in the top 3. I think the top issue was, of course, our ability to market Peter Dutton, who's a personal friend of mine, but let's face it, some politicians just can't be sold. I think the Trump effect was good 3 months ago, but a lot of Australians found out that he wasn't exactly the friend that we thought he would be, particularly Conservatives who thought that he was going to be somebody that would be looking out for us. And of course, I think that the instability, the threat of instability with those polls saying that there was going to be a minority government, pushed a lot of people into the Labor camp thinking that that was going to be their best chance of seeing a government that could manage the economy, manage the government efficiently.